Primary ignition.
Welcome to Unlimited Power. My name is D-Rod, and here's my guide for playing Boba Fett at your Shadows of the Galaxy pre-release for Star Wars Unlimited, the trading card game. If this is one of the first times you're watching one of my guides, I always want to start off by saying the goal here is to focus on the commons and uncommon cards found within the set that pair well with this leader's colors, aspects, and abilities. Yes, there are going to be some amazing rares and legendaries that really fit some of these cards, but because you're only getting 6 packs in your booster box, the getting one of those cards can be few and far between. So it's a little better to focus on some of the cards that can really fill out your deck, that can work around what your leader does. Now, not all leaders are going to have all the tools they need to be top tier in a limited format, but that's okay because we can still find things that make them work in case you're someone who really wants to play one of these leaders, or you just happen to get a card pool that really fits in with these colors. So let's start off by looking at Boba Fett as a leader as well as a leader unit. Now, this is the second time we've seen Boba Fett printed as a leader in this game, and he's completely different this time because he has the heroic aspect and he is as well as the command aspect, where in set 1 they were Cunning and Villain. As a leader, he says when you play a unit that has one or more keywords, you may exhaust him, and if you do, give the friendly unit +1/+0 for the phase. So he still has a reaction ability, meaning you have to do this when you play the card. You can't wait till your next action because you've already missed it. So be sure you're focusing on what card you want to give this +1 to the end of the phase for. I think this is really strong because early on, it really benefits you to put this on units with ambush, cards that can essentially attack immediately. As you go a little bit more to that mid-range, yes, you're probably going to play a unit with a keyword, and then you're going to give a different friendly unit that +1/+0. I think that's really good. As an epic action, if you control 6 or more resources, you can deploy Boba Fett. This means you can do this as early as turn 5. Boba Fett, when deployed, is a 4/7 unit, and this time his ability is a little bit more static, meaning it's going to be active the whole time he's in play. So it still reads, each other friendly unit that has one or more keywords get +1/+0. So at this point, all cards you put down with keywords are going to be stronger when they are being attacked or attacking a unit or base. Some of the cards within their leadership aspects of green and white that I'm going to recommend are going to be Modded Cohort. Right out of the Book of Boba Fett show, you know this card's going to work well with it. It's a 4 cost unit. That's a 2/4. It has Ambush and Raid 2. Now, here are those keywords we're talking about. Things in red are going to be keywords. And Modded Cohort already has 2 of them. Being able to give it Ambush when it comes out means it's going to swing for immediately into a unit, and it has Raid 2, meaning it hits for 4. With Boba, it hits for 5, and I think that's going to be great. Another unit to throw in there is going to be the Sundari Peacekeeper. A 3-cost unit that's a 1/5 Mandalorian Trooper, but he has Raid 2 and a Restore 2. So definitely a card your opponent doesn't want you to keep on the field for too long. The fact that it hits for 3 and with Boba 4, it's just going to make it more of a pain for your opponent to deal with, along with that 5 health. And last is the Adelphi Patrol Wing. No keywords here. You're not going to see a single red keyword, but it is a 5-cost 4/6 unit that says, when played, you may attack with a unit. If you have the initiative, it gets +2/+0 for the attack. I think this kind of card is really strong later in the game. You have the initiative, you play, you get to attack immediately. You're doing 2 actions at once. If you're buffing something because you have the initiative, even better, as well as getting Boba Fett's bonus. So you can get like +3 on a unit with a keyword from just simply putting another unit in play. Lot of value here, right? One action allows you to play a card, attack with a unit, and get a buff on that attack with that unit. Continuing with the command aspect alone, we're going to look at Outflank. When you're playing so many units with bonuses, it's a good idea to play a card like this. A 1-cost event that allows you to, again, cheat the system by attacking with 2 units in 1 action. 1 card, 2 attacks, both getting bonuses from Boba's ability. That usually takes 3 actions to make any of that work. We're doing this much quicker, so I think it's a great card to add. Another one I want to recommend is the Kirox Heavy Fighter, a 4-cost space unit that's a 3/3 with Overwhelm, so it has the keyword ability, as well as an on-attack ability that says you can exhaust another friendly unit. And if you do, this unit gets +3/+0 for the attack. With Boba, that gives him +4, and with Overwhelm, you know you're going to be able to go through those cards that your opponent has, like the Black Sun Starfighter that may have Sentinel. And last is Mercenary Company, a reprint from Spark of Rebellion, but a strong reprint at that. It's a 6-cost resource card that's a 5/5 with Ambush and Overwhelm, meaning with Boba, it's a 6/5 with Ambush and Overwhelm. Going back to the cunning aspect for Boba, first one we're going to recommend is on theme here, and it's Fennec Shand, a 7-cost unit with ambush that is a 4/6 in power and health. And on attack, you can deal 1 damage to the defender if it's a unit for each different cost among cards in your discard pile. So what this means is when she attacks, you looks at the different cost of cards in your discard pile, and it will deal damage before damage is even done to your opponent. This may kill them entirely, or it may just weaken them enough. But I think this type of card not only fits well with what you're trying to do, it gives you that ambush mechanic and is good in the late game. Next is Cartel Turncoat. A 1 cost is kind of what you're looking for someone like Boba. You really want to flood the board with some units. And this one gives you the bounty mechanic. It does reward your opponent when they defeat it by letting them draw a card, but you're going to have a 3/3 attacking pretty easily with Boba's abilities. So I think it's a good card to add and hopefully play on turn 1. And last is Surprise Strike, a reprint from Spark of Rebellion. Surprise Strike allows you to attack with a unit, and it gets +3 for this attack. Again, it's just kind of being fast here. It's being quick. It's using speed to your advantage. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that when you're playing someone like Boba, who really wants a variety of units out in play. In the aggression aspect, I'm going to recommend Ketsu Ono, a 2-drop 3/2 Mandalorian character with Saboteur. So Saboteur is the key word here. You get past characters with Sentinel or defeat shields. When they do deal damage to a base, though, you can defeat an upgrade that costs 2 or less. So this means you can defeat experience tokens, shield tokens, and any other printed cards with 2 or less value. I think Ketsu is going to be a great one because you're going to get that bonus when you're attacking because of Boba Fett, and it can really be elusive and take care of some things that are causing you problems. Next is the House Cast Soldier, very similar to Ketsu Ono. It's another 2-drop with reverse the stats here, so there are 2/3, but also have Saboteur. Again, use these things to your advantage. You're playing aggressively, so just swing, swing, swing. And lastly, for aggression is the Detention Block Rescue, an event card that allows you to pay 3 to deal 3 damage to a unit. Seems fair to me. It's no open fire, but in a limited format like this, it's good. If that unit does happen to be capturing something, though, you can deal 6 damage to it instead, making it a little bit more stronger than you would expect it to be. In the Vigilance aspect, let's look at the top card in the event slot for Star Wars so far, and that is Rivals Fall. At a common, this 6-cost card can defeat any unit in play. Ground, space, leader, non-leader, does not matter. It will be defeated. So I think this is a great one. If you end up going Vigilance, you're going to want a few of these. Village Protectors is also an interesting one. Not really on theme so much, but definitely fits on kind of what Boba's trying to do as he turns a new leaf. This 3-drop unit has 2 keywords with Sentinel and Shielded, allowing you to get Boba Fett's bonus, as well as kind of keep you protected a little bit while doing some damage to your opponent. And last is the Concord Dawn Interceptors, a 3-cost space unit that's a 1/4 with Sentinel, but it gets +2/+0 when defending. I like this card because you can really start playing units to just give the Concord Dawn Interceptor that bonus because of Boba, and I think that's just going to be really strong. So I think there's a lot here you can do. I think giving the bonus from Boba is going to make it strong. I think when people attack it, it's going to get that +2. So imagine if it's +3 and they have to swing into it. The Dawn Interceptors may take out 2 or 3 units more than your opponent was expecting with those type of buffs. In the hero aspect, I'm going to recommend Wookiee Warrior. Keep in mind the hero and villain aspect cards in these sets are always going to be very limited, so they may not feel like they fit in very well, but you're always going to need filler in your deck, and these are 3 that I think really stand out with Boba. The Wookiee Warrior is a 2/5 with grit. Grit's going to give you that keyword mechanic. So that means you should be able to, if you take 4 points of damage, you'll be a 6/5. But with the grit mechanic and Boba's ability, you're going to actually be a 7/5 when you attack. I think that's really strong. If you do have another Wookiee, you can draw a card. Next is Gray Squadron Y-Wing. No keyword mechanic here, but an opponent chooses a unit or base they control when you attack with this 2-drop 1/3 and says you may deal 2 damage to either the unit or the base, and the opponent chooses there. So I think that's a good way of keeping your opponent on tilt, forces them to make decisions. They also have to figure out how they're going to deal with your Gray Squadron Y-Wing. And last for heroes is Protector of the Throne. Now this is a 3-drop 2/4 unit that only has Sentinel if it's upgraded. So if you can give it Sentinel, it can take advantage of Boba's abilities. If not, you'll just have a low-cost unit there for a little bit to help you out. And then in the non-aspects, let's look at Rich Reward here. A 1-cost bounty that allows you to give 2 experience tokens to different units, which I think will be really good. So 1 token for each unit there, and that'll essentially like buff up what you're already trying to do with Boba, which is attack for stronger with a variety of units. So I think Rich Reward will be a good one to add. Lady Proxima is another strong one. Since most of your units are probably going to be Underworld, Bounty Hunter, or Mandalorian, Proxima allows you to kind of take advantage of those Underworld cards by dealing damage to the base. And lastly is Twin Pod Cloud Car. A staple in the limited format, this 3-drop space unit can really get a lot of work done, as well as heal you over time. It's a 2/2 with Restore 2. It really is a target for your opponent to deal with, because if they don't, they're going to really struggle with that Restore 2 mechanic. That's all the cards I really want to recommend here for Boba Fett. Let me know how this goes. If you're excited to play Boba Fett in your local pre-release, or if you happen to pull him in a lot of cards that pair well with him, or maybe you get an amazing rare or legendary that you have to play with green-white. Let me know in the comments below. I wish you luck at your future pre-release or sealed event. And lastly, may the Force be with you.